What is up, beautiful people of the internet? I'm Wesley.
I'm Steph.
So Wes and Steph. And today, guys, we're reacting to BTS Hardships from 2013 to 2021. Racism, mistreatment, accusations, and more. Struggles throughout the years. This was recommended because right now we're reacting to Beyond the Stars.
Yeah.
And we've expressed a lot of times when we've listened to this telling of BTS's story, there's this period from like 2013 to 2021 in the video it's talking about that BTS will allude to a lot, but won't go into more specifics about having a lot of really difficult times.
And obviously they don't want to dive into it in the docuseries. Totally get that.
Yeah.
But it's helpful for us to understand what they went through because I think it just makes us appreciate BTS more.
And we weren't in ARMY yet. And
no.
we first became aware of BTS probably hearing of them even before we started reacting them in
2019?
2019 when they were already successful in the US.
Yeah.
So it's just a part of their history that we didn't observe. Mm-hmm. And it seems like it's also a pretty complicated part of their story also.
Yeah.
And it also goes into things that we also would have a harder time understanding, like Korean media culture and Korean pop culture and like the industry and how it works and whatnot. So we're really interested to learn more. And thank you guys for suggesting because it seems like exactly the video that we needed to watch. So let's go.
This video was not made in order to relive the sadness or to hold grudges against others. This video was made to remind us that BTS didn't rise to success without facing hurdles, and these events have created a stronger bond between BTS and ARMY.
They had it
June 13, 2013. BTS were only able to debut because the scheduled performers canceled.
Really?
BTS was a filler.
We never knew that.
No,
that's
I didn't.
Wild.
They never mentioned that part.
We never have heard that part.
No.
That's insane to me. That's like something out of a movie.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
After debuting, they couldn't get much airtime. Their performances were either shortened, cut from broadcasts, or not uploaded for online consumption, due to their company's lack of clout at that time.
This is something we've been wondering a lot of because I had heard that, oh, they're not with the traditional main labels. And so we've always wondered, because in the stories, it makes sense that the label's putting this out and they don't want to be like, F all the other major labels now that stuff is good and they're also treated like a major label. But we've talked about that because usually established businesses don't go, or established corporations don't go down without a fight to their disruptors. Like every lever that they can pull, any influence they can wield, they're going to do it, you know?
네, 우리가 막 방송을 마음대로 못 깔 때예요. 그치. 방송을 막 사람 다 차 있으면 우리 못 나오고 그럴 때도 있었어.
저 때 한밤에 이게 나가게 된 게 되게 약간 우리가 막 그랬었어. 그때 그랬어요. 되게 중요한 거고 신기한 거고 되게 약간 원래 그렇게 따로 인터뷰 잘 안 해주시는데 막 그때 그런 기억이 나요.
저희를 구원해 주신 거죠?
From sleeping in one bedroom to using their own staff as extras.
제 매니저형 보이더라.
To recording an album in a garage.
Whoa.
These were just a few things BTS experienced early on in their careers due to their company's limited budget.
지드래곤 선배님이 막 말 걸어주신 거 이렇게 옷에 쓰여 있는 거 무슨 뭐냐고 돈 없어가지고 16,000원짜리 후배티에 프린팅 해가지고 뭔지 몰라가지고 말을 못해야 되겠었는데 아무튼.
Because some of the members came from an underground rap background but ultimately chose the path of becoming idols, they were often disrespected.
사실 남준이가 그 언더에서 활동을 했다고 이제 그런 사람들이 많아요. 그 아이돌로 올라가서 나는 언더그라운드 활동을 했던 사람이다 하고 언플이라고 흔히 하잖아요. 그러면은 이제 언더 매니아, 힙합 매니아라고 하는 사람들은 그런 거를 당연히 안 좋게 보죠.
아, 지네 음악도 안 하고 그냥 회사에서 시키는데도 노래 받아서 춤이나 추는 것들이 무슨 가수냐? 니네가 무슨 아티스트냐? 저런 애를 더 이상 나오면 안 된다.
A rapper told RM...
We heard this part. We've seen this.
We've heard RM's hardships.
RM and Suga, we specifically have heard about their relationship with the
rap industry.
The Korean hip-hop underground stuff before.
And Suga that they were on the right path, but strayed away and were no longer considered real rap hip-hop artists, deeming them girls for wearing makeup.
방탄소년단에 대해서 사실 다 찍어서 말하고 아이돌 분이다. 네, 맞습니다. 힙합이 아니다. 방탄소년단이 무대에 올라갔을 때 뭐 이제 분장을 한다는 거, 어떤 메이크업을 하는 거에 대한 어떤 힙합과 충돌되는 부분이 있을 것 같은데.
분장 그런 게 아니라 여자.
Dude, this interview always pisses me off. It's so disrespectful.
Shut the front door.
BTS were being
It's
told
so
by several people.
It's interesting though, because I know that in US sometimes because K-pop didn't get much mainstream coverage until BTS.
Yeah.
But I do remember there was some like, wait, there are guys wearing makeup?
Yeah.
Which was kind of weird to me because there's been lots of U.S. musical acts, especially...
All movies.
Well, and like there's always stage makeup.
Yeah.
But even in the music industry in U.S., there's like David Bowie, there's all kinds of rock stars.
That's true.
Like, I was just a very weird critique to me because they're musicians and artists.
Yeah.
And this has happened before, like, over decades. Like,
nothing
David
new.
Bowie was from my dad's childhood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's been musicians wearing makeup for, like, 80 years.
Yeah.
So it's just a very... Isn't that bizarre?
I just think it's really, like, uncomfortable in an interview to, like, come out and attack your guests like
Especially
that.
to me, it's different. I think it's really cowardly when you have more people at the interview.
Yeah, and then not only that, but it's like, okay, well, we're a guest on your show. Do you want me to punch back? Right?
Yeah.
Like, because, I mean, I can critique you, too, but... that's disrespectful too. It's just a weird.
I think it
thing
also
to
depends
do.
because there's like certain interview shows where it's like we're gonna have a feisty one-on-one
But that's
confrontation,
an understanding
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
go
yeah.
into it. Obviously, that they went in good faith.
I think
BTS did.
the
and
reason
they
that one
attacked them.
pisses me off is because they have like 8 guys at the table,
Yeah.
and so that's what I don't like about it. It's not
teaming up against them.
I would still think it's rude and disrespectful, but I also think it's cowardly that they have like 8 people at the table.
Yeah.
And it's RM and Suga. If it was just like them 2 and RM and Suga,
They wouldn't have talked the same way.
I don't think that they would have, but
No.
that it would feel at least like it's not also
Ganging
super
up on it.
cowardly. Yeah.
People they would never make it because they came from a small agency. Big Hit Entertainment was at one point near bankruptcy
That's insane.
and didn't have the financial power to promote and push BTS the way other companies could with their own groups. In 2014, Suga shared his story about battling depression since pre-debut days. Suga continues to discuss and bring awareness to mental health through his work. Until now, BTS has continuously been transparent about their darkest thoughts and feelings, not just through their music, but also their very public personas. February 2014, BTS were accused of copying the schoolboy concept for Boy in Love, which came out shortly after another group released their music video, even though the concept is a popular choice amongst young boy bands. April 2000.
It's like everybody's doing it, but BTS did it, so they're copying.
Yeah, that's plagiarism. That's insane to me also.
You know what it feels like? It feels like Mean Girls in high school who are like, they're all wearing the same outfit, but then you try to wear it and you're just like a wallflower, and they're like, oh, you're trying to be one of us?
Yeah.
You're just copying us. Literally, the whole school's dressed like this.
It's so stupid.
You know?
I'm getting irritated.
Yeah,
I'm getting
getting
so
angry.
irritated because it's not. I think that when it's not fair,
Yeah.
that's what really irritates me. And it's not even. It's such a reach.
Yeah.
Especially this one is such a reach. It's like
Yeah.
this is something that a lot of idol groups have done over the years. It
Yeah,
sounds
this
like
is nothing new.
It's not like it's this crazy. I thought it was going to be like, oh, this song sounded like this other song. It's like, no, they wear school uniforms. Like, how common must school uniforms be in
For boy bands.
Yeah.
Yes.
2014. During a variety show, the host confronted them about this plagiarism accusation.
수와 겹친 교복 패션 왜 하필입니까? 원망했나요?
사실 저희가 말씀드릴 수 있는
You see Jin's face? Jin was
저희가
pissed.
이번 사랑 이야기 학교 3부작의 마지막이었어요.
예.
그래가지고 나 언제 한번 교복을 입겠다라고 생각을 했는데 그게 되게 미묘하게 시기가 겹쳐가지고
Throughout their careers, they've been constantly criticized for plagiarism, often for outfits, props, concepts, and hair colors that are ordinary
Hair
not just in
colors?
K-pop, but the expansive world of visual arts. November 2014. Hashtag #KickOutJHopeBTS
What?
trended on Twitter, calling J-Hope ugly and untalented. The trend became popular enough that their friend and supervisor from their reality show American Hustle Life, Tony Jones, tweeted out saying, "Every member is needed and talented." Jin stepped in by telling ARMYs to cheer up and that all of them were working hard. ARMYs got together and trended #JHopeYou'rePerfect to comfort him.
I'm glad that that happened, but that's horrible.
That's so...
That's whole bad.
Like ganging up on one member?
Yeah, that sucks.
May 2015. BTS finally won their first music show with their song I Need You, 2 years after their debut,
Just
but
crazy.
were
2
accused
years.
of sabotage. This is when companies buy back albums to boost external sales records. But this was when their company was barely surviving financially, making the claims groundless. May 2015.
I'd like to know, I think the one thing, it seems like a lot of this is coming from the media
Yeah.
and the internet also.
Yeah, which makes me feel like the big other companies were behind it.
Yeah, for sure. With the news coverage about the plagiarism, it's like, hey man, we've got a guy, we'll give you really good coverage of our artists, but we need you to publish these stories.
Yeah.
It's, in a way, it shows that they were doing things right and that the other companies viewed them as a threat, I think. Because then why would they bother to try to target them?
Yeah.
V was accused of mocking another idol group after they won a music show and were accepting the trophy. People began to send him death threats. However, he wasn't mocking them at all. V was known to be a fan of this group and was singing their song out of excitement. He apologized on Twitter for the misunderstanding and provided screenshots showing that he would always listen to this song before bed. July 2015. BTS abruptly halted their concert, The Red Bullet, in New York due to death threats towards RM.
What? This is insane. I'm
know.
sorry we're pausing so much. I just feel like every little story, there's something wild.
Like death threats.
Like, V just got death threats. RM just got death threats. Especially, I think it would suck to try to do something as a tribute or just even like in excitement, you're like singing a song that is your happy song.
Yeah.
And then people completely misinterpret that. And you're like, no, I like this group. I love this song.
Yeah.
I wanted this song
This is my
to be
celebratory moment.
Yeah. Like, I want this song to be a part of my joy.
But because I'm an artist, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't appreciate other people's music anymore.
It just sucks that there's. I feel like if you're looking to interpret bad motivations to someone's actions, you can always find them.
Mm-hmm.
And it just sucks. I get now way more when they've mentioned the struggles with being in the spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
It's stuff like this.
Yeah.
Like we never heard about. We usually interpreted it like, I'm sure it's with the difficulty going out in public and so much of the attention and whatnot,
yeah,
right?
But the
but
death
like
threats
this, like,
and the hate.
I sang a song and so I got death threats. That's wild. Isn't that insane? I
wild.
sang my favorite song that I listened to every night before bed because I was happy and I got death threats. That's whack. And you know what sucks too is then that could change how you feel about the song so easily.
Yeah,
and
that would just bring up bad memories. It ruins that song for you.
That sucks. Like,
yeah.
Oh, my favorite song. Now I can't listen to it without thinking about the death threats I got. That's...
Yeah.
All related fan activities were also subsequently cancelled. Attendees of the show were forced to leave the venue, where there was a strong presence of security and police at the scene.
Sorry. We love you.
RM also received another death threat for another upcoming show in
Why?
Mexico later that month. July 2016, people began to debate over alleged misogynistic lyrics and tweets from BTS. This led
I'm sorry. I have never once thought BTS's lyrics were misogynistic. Have you heard American rap? Like, have you heard American music? There's nothing that I've ever heard or that I've ever thought that once in my entire life. I'm just blown away. I'm sorry.
to the
that makes me
members
so
and the
angry.
company, reflecting back on their actions. BTS's agency, Big Hit Entertainment, responded with an apology and a promise to do better. Consequently, the
Maybe I'm
band
wrong,
grew
but not
from
that I've
this
heard.
lesson and have since released feminist overtures such as 21st Century Girl, and in 2019 responded to their 2014 single Boy in Love with Boy with Love, a collaboration with Halsey. RM has said that since the incident, he pays closer attention to the lyrics he writes, reading newspapers and books to study
I don't know what song they're talking about. If it's Boy in Love, I freaking love that song.
the social phenomenon.
I mean, at the same time, we don't know Korean.
Yeah, that's true. We don't know.
So I feel like we can't really...
I know.
There's not...
After he
whenever we read
finishes
the
writing lyrics, he consults experts of women's studies to objectively examine the lyrics. May 2016. During their epilogue concert, aunties began to use the hashtag Plagiarism Boy Scouts. Multiple fandoms teamed up to trend this hashtag in Korea.
That's
BTS
wild
saw
to me
this.
also. That there's
They're just
people who can
weaponizing.
self-identify to the point that they're like antis.
Yeah.
That that's wild.
Why can't you be pro multiple groups? Why do you
just
one?
ignore?
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of, I don't know.
People, yeah, they're mean. People are mean.
I'm getting pissed. I think it's that idea that you've talked about before, I think, where there's a pie of love, right? But it's like there's a pie of success. So then BTS's success is taking away from the group that I'm a fan of success. And it's like, there's not an arbitrary pie.
You can
like
love
your group
both
can get
songs, both bands.
It
both
doesn't
groups.
even if you don't, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just because BTS is getting like really good numbers and your group isn't getting as good of numbers, it's not like if BTS wasn't getting those numbers, your group would be getting those numbers.
Yeah.
They're not taking it away. It's completely independent. And I think a lot of people struggle with that where they're like, oh, there's 1 million views in the world that could be had. So therefore, if this group is getting 900,000, my group could only get 100,000. It's like, no.
Less,
they're building their own thing.
Yeah.
And the media latched on. June 2016.
Of course, yeah.
During the variety show Flower Crew, Jungkook arrived at the filming location with a bag of hamburgers for his cast members, hoping to break the ice. One of the cast members made rude comments and turned Jungkook's offer away. BTS has since filmed another variety show with the same.
Whoa! We liked him a lot.
I have to back this up because we watched that.
Jungkook's offer
We didn't watch
away.
this.
BTS has since filmed another variety show with the same host, and spirits seem high.
That was a really
September
good variety show too. Maybe to be fair, I get how if you're trying to make content, you could just make a bad joke.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to make I could understand that one being a misunderstanding and you're trying to cheese JK, but it comes off bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes because when you're making a ton of jokes, like not every single one is going to.
Yeah, but that sucks on top of everything else.
Oh, JK
I
was
know.
doing
He was like,
something
I'm gonna
nice.
go do something really nice.
That hurts my soul.
It makes
for
me
a little
really
junk
sad.
cookie.
And you're like, I want to break the ice. I'm
it
gonna
makes
go
me want to cry.
on a variety show with a ton of people I don't know.
And I'm just gonna bring him hamburgers because.
Yeah.
Was that on camera? Or
yeah.
like,
I think that was on camera. I mean, we just saw it, right?
Yeah.
16.
Frustrated.
Aunties made yet another project called Break Wings Project to try to sabotage their comeback in October. The project was caught and stopped once comments on YouTube broadcasting the project were put on blast. Wings then went on to sell 16,000 units in its first week, appearing at number 26 on the US Billboard 200 chart, setting the then highest record for a K-pop album and making BTS the first and only K-pop act at that time to log 3 entries on the Billboard 200. Because of this, aunties took strategic pictures of non-armies and claimed that there was no line in stores that sold physical albums. October
they're
2006.
trying to say, oh, it's all make-believe.
It's all the label buying stuff back.
Yeah.
16. During the Busan One Asia Festival, fans were told
I think their sold-out stadiums will tell you differdifferently.
It's also just
that makes me so pissed off.
Especially because it's like, that's amazing that they sold 16,000 albums in the US, but like you could sell 16,000 albums and not have lines in the record store.
Yes.
Like, and I mean, 16,000 albums is so many.
Also, how many people
US
buy
is so huge. Like,
physical copies these days anyway? Everybody listens online. Look
well,
at their YouTube views.
If if every record
bots.
label in the US sold like 10, you'd be able to hit, like, you don't need a line for that. It's just it's such a stupid argument that it pisses me off. And it's such a dumb way to undercut their amazing success.
People are just looking for
anything.
Full hours before the broadcast that BTS were no longer appearing because one member was absent from an injury, even though a countless number of fans were already present at the event venue and BTS was ready and willing to perform. BTS ended up performing for the fans who attended the event and waited all day, but it was at the end of the event with leftover confetti, no proper lighting, and no cameras rolling. Their performance was not broadcasted and only fan cams were taken.
I think that's really beautiful that they still performed.
That they did it anyways.
That they did it anyways, and they just said like, our army's here, we'll perform for them because they showed up. And I think that it just shows again that attitude that really sets them apart from, I don't know, I'm not saying about K-pop because I don't really have that, but like other artists or other people who are doing projects, I still feel like they're so dedicated to their mission and
to the fans.
And to ARMY, and that's the difference. It's like, oh, we could have performed here and gotten more publicity and gotten this like benefit to us as a brand,
but it's not benefiting us, and we're going to do it anyway.
Anyways, to show love to ARMY who came and bothered to be here.
Yeah.
So October 2016. During BTS's Blood, Sweat and Tears promotion in South Korea, BTS wasn't given a waiting room at the broadcast center. So the members made do and practiced, got dressed, and did makeup in front of the bathrooms. They would practice non-stop without resting, greeting other staffers who were going to the bathroom, and other idol groups would openly look down on them.
Whoa.
This comment was left under a video uploaded by Wei, a member from Crayon Pop. Wei responded, "Yes, that's right. All I remember is their hard work and efforts. I especially haven't forgotten RM's voice practicing Japanese." November 2016.
So that was
I thought that was nice.
I thought that was nice
but
too.
maybe there's some subtext that we're not able to pick up on. But I feel like that's petty shit, man, to just not let them have a waiting room when they're performing.
It's just rude.
It's just rude. It's so stupid.
He made a heartfelt announcement during their muster that his beloved grandmother had passed away. Auntie saw this as an opportunity to twist his narrative and intentions, sending him death threats and accusing him of using her passing as a ploy for attention. November 2006.
That's disgusting.
I know.
Like, of all the things that they've done so far, making fun of somebody who's experienced a loss in their life of losing a loved one, if you do that, you are the scum of the earth. You are a despicable trash human being. That's disgusting. You should never, ever do that. That makes me furious. Of everything I've said so far, that makes me the most angry. V has lost a loved one, and you're like, shame on you. I hope you take a good damn long look in the mirror. It makes me so angry.
16. Big Hit released a formal statement about taking legal actions regarding malicious rumors, false statements, and personal attacks against BTS. The company continues to pursue legal actions against perpetrators to this day, enforcing a strict no settlement and leniency policy. November 2016. Fans of another group were upset that BTS won Album of the Year at the Melon Music Awards, claiming it was done out of charity and that miscalculations were made.
I'm sure that the music industry that's been really nice to BTS this whole time was really just jonesing.
They messed up this time.
Oh,
they didn't give him a waiting room.
They didn't give him a waiting room, but now they're going to go out of there. What are you talking about?
Like,
they didn't have a choice.
They didn't
care. Where an employee explained that the company made. They called Melon Customer Care, where an employee explained that the company's internal data proved that BTS scored higher. Audio of the conversation was released.
그거 이제 그 상에 해당하는 앨범들을 해가지고 계산한 게 있는데 그러면은 저희가 보는 거랑 뭐 멜론 내부에서 보는 거랑 그러면은 데이터가 아예 다르다는 소린가요?
아니요, 똑같으시고요. 고객께서 보셨던 거는 차트랑 그리고 스트리밍 그 실시간 그 앨범 자체가 나오고 나서 순간 차트에 대한 그런 데이터를 아십니까?
그건 아닌 것 같아요.
고객께서 보신 전체 데이터 수치는 아마 보시기 어려우실 거예요. 그 데이터는 로에만 갖고 있고요. 고객께서 봤던 정의를 어떤 식으로 진행하셔가지고 어떤 식으로 보신지 모르겠는데 고객님께서 정리해서 보신 거는 그 차트 반영에 관한 내용들이고요. 그 부분이 아니라 1년 동안
How petty are you that you're gonna
call the agency? How did she even get to talk to this guy?
Yeah, I can't believe that she got through to somebody who can like be like, I don't know how you calculate your score. I'm sorry, yours is different, but
they're saying call center agent. To me, it sounds like she got to the analyst.
Yeah,
because he's got a thorough understanding of how they calculate it, and it's wild to me that they're even having this conversation.
Yes.
Like maybe it's for the best, and maybe they were doing it strategically.
I'm gonna call up the Academy Awards and be like, "Excuse me, can you tell me why they got this Oscar? Because I disagree with you."
And I did the math as well, and my calculations are different. And they're like, "I don't understand how you have calculations. Like we have access to private databases, so and that's crazy."
고객님들께서 스트리밍 돌리시고 앨범을 산 그 이용권 말고 많은 대중들이 전체적으로 됐잖아요.
네.
그거에 대한 결과 전체 음원 합산 점수예요. 내부적으로 고객께서 지금 생각하신 게 혹시 내부적 이게 비리가 있는 거 아니냐라고 생각이 드실 수 있는데요.
네.
뭐 제가 말씀드릴 수 있는 부분은 비리 전혀 없으시고요. 방탄이 1년 동안 보다 스트리밍 수가 많이 받아서 상을 받았다라고 생각하시면 되십니다.
February 2017.
My head's hurting because I'm getting pissed. Just at everything. I think it's telling how far people will reach. And yeah. I heard a statement, it's like, they don't hate you because of what you've done, they just hate you for who you are. And I think that's so accurate, because BTS could do anything.
It doesn't matter.
And the same people, let's say antis, that's such a good word, the antis would be against them, because they hate them. It's not like they hate what they did, they just hate them. That's
BTS were accused of plagiarism after their performance at the Gaon Chart Music Awards. The part in question was when the no-signal bars on screen resembled another group's past stage. To make matters worse, the creative director of the group in question created a post on Instagram with the captions, our hard work. And siblings of the group liked that post. Gaon Charts eventually posted an official statement in regards...
That's wild to me, because that's a trope. Y'all, that's a trope. That's like saying if you do a jump scare in a movie that you're plagiarizing.
15 seconds later.
That's
or that meme. Like, everybody uses that.
I've seen American artists do the whole, like, beep, 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 beep. You know, like the broadcast cutting out, no signal.
Y'all are reaching.
I've used that in, like, freaking vlogs before.
They are
that one's
reaching.
That's insane. It's like saying, guys, I think that artist is plagiarizing because
they use the color purple.
They danced.
Yeah. They danced.
They sang and get this. While they were doing that, they also danced. So
no, they're plagiarizing.
We also did that before them, so they're plagiarizing us. It's like, dude, that's so fucking arrogant to say that they're plagiarizing you because that implies that you came up with it. That's signal.
Are you really claiming that you came up with no signal? No one else has ever done
that no signal, that like beep 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 in the
US,
at the beginning of a broadcast
South
in the
Korea,
world,
in the entire world.
That's wild. That's
to the accusation, admitting that their own production team was in charge of the graphics, not Big Hit. BTS has not attended or performed at Gaon Chart Music Awards since, only pre-taping acceptance speeches. March 2017.
Damn.
Death threats were made against BTS, with their target being Jimin this time. This threat happened during their world tour, and Big Hit addressed this threat, increasing security around the venues. December 2017. Fans of a different group were so outraged by the results at the 2017 Mnet Asian Music Awards that they filed a petition under the Blue House, the executive office and official residence of the South Korean head of state. They requested MAMA to be abolished because BTS won, crashing the Blue House petition website, which was meant for the South Korean citizens only, with traffic from overseas.
You trying to petition the government?
To shut
down the music award agency? I'm
like
flabbergasted at the plots. Like, I feel like the antis, I'm watching, like, Dexter's Laboratory or one of those cartoons with the plots that they get up to. Their plots are wild. They're like, okay, guys, get this. We're going to contact
the Blue House.
We're going to contact the federal government.
Shut them down.
Like, can you imagine being like, guys, I really don't fuck with Selena Gomez. I'm gonna petition the White House to close down
the awards,
the MTV Music Awards, because they gave her that's just insane to me. Their plots are like Kim Possible villain status. Is this not absolutely bonkers?
I don't know.
I feel like seeing how many death threats they got, it makes me much more understanding of why sometimes we've seen BTS be like kind of apprehensive out in public.
Yeah.
Even more so because I
don't know.
Oh yeah,
people
like
are. They could be an anti. They could be a fan. You don't know.
I've usually thought like, oh, there can sometimes be overly obsessive fans of celebrities who just get like super aggressively affectionate.
Yeah.
But no, it's like, oh no, there's people who hate them.
Like they hate them to the extent they're calling the government to shut down an award ceremony.
They've literally, I did not realize they had gotten death threats. Like in my head, I could not imagine somebody being an anti, which was a word I didn't even know yet, but like being a hater I feel like anti is even better than hater.
Yeah.
But being an anti to the point that you're like threatening physical violence is absolutely insane to me. But I feel like now I get it much more.
May 2018, Jimin once again received death threats, this time during their Love Yourself tour in Fort Worth. Police tweeted...
Man, I just hate these people who are telling everyone that they should love themselves and have a positive self-image.
Wow.
That pisses me off.
They're really plagiarizing with their concert material.
Afterwards, that they were investigating the threat. November 2018.
Texas.
On November 7, a South Korean court ordered a Japanese company to compensate them for wartime labor during Japan's colonial rule
Wait. I'm very confused. Japan and South Korea leaders unlikely to hold talks as ties sour over wartime labor ruling?
To compensate them for wartime labor during Japan's colonial rule of the Korean Peninsula. The next day, Japan's TV's Asahi's music station announced that they have cancelled BTS's appearance on their show, slated for November 9th, due to a recently resurfaced screenshot of a member wearing a t-shirt depicting a photo of an atomic bomb and of Koreans celebrating their independence from Japan. The band subsequently became attacked by the extreme conservatives in Japan, and the news was picked up by the Western media.
바로 저 사건은 방탄소년단이 입었던 티셔츠가 직접적인 문제가 됐다기보단 그건 빌미였고 사실은 강제징용 배상 판결에 대한 이
It's just like cool. We can try to hit we can get back. We can just try. This is something we can do because there happened to be a Korean act that was going to perform and it was a BTS, so it's like they're massively popular. So they're like sick. We can just do something to them because there's not another lever that we can easily pull to do something to South Korea.
Yeah.
스포츠를 하고 싶어하던 일본의 어떤 그 멘탈리티가 그대로 표현된 거다라고 생각을 할 수 있는데 그래서 그 5개 대륙에 그러니까 전 세계에 걸쳐서 살고 있는 특히 이제 한국 번역을 하는 한국 아미들이 주축이 돼서요 20몇 명의 아미가 온라인으로 모여서 이 사건이 도대체 어떤 정치적 배경에서 나왔는가 어떤 역사적 배경에서 출현한 건가 그리고 지금 그 전 세계에서 쏟아내고 있는 기사들이 어디가 어떻게 잘못된 건가 팩트 체크를 다 하면서 이 2차 세계대전에 대한 어떤 백서 화이트 페이퍼 프로젝트를 발간합니다.
영문으로 해서 저렇게 한 거예요?
예, 영문과 한국어 동시에.
The only thing that makes me happy, because this is a video focused on the activity of antis, right?
Yeah.
Is I just love that antis can't hold a candle to ARMY. And it's like, you got fucked up, dude. 166-page report. Like, that's the only thing. Is obviously, this is a video focusing on the struggles, but it just makes me so happy that the ARMY is so much better. It really does. Doesn't it really
feel...
That's
longer than any school project I ever did in my life.
Dude, it also gives me another appreciation for why ARMY is so ride or die.
Yeah.
Especially ARMY who made it through this time period.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
like, yeah, we've dealt with slander, we've dealt with governments, we had petitions to the Blue House, like we're literally having to release. It almost feels like, you know, when different political parties are advocating for different like social policies.
Yes.
And they're having to release reports and press statements to sort of try to sway the general public in different ways. It feels like antis are trying to sway like Gen Pop to hate BTS, and ARMY's like, no, Gen Pop, listen, we're going to release our own report and investigation that shows that antis were lying. And it's just insane. It's to have all of this discourse going back and forth.
What the hell is this happening?
Like we said, there's almost nothing more infuriating than having someone else just like lie about something that about someone that you love or like or are friends with. So I get why ARMY would be like,
excuse me.
Yeah.
April 2019. During BTS's global press conference for Map of the Soul Persona, a reporter bluntly asked BTS about past plagiarism allegations.
사실 제가 그 윙스하고 피땀 눈물 언급했던 거는 그때 이제 뭐 문제가 됐던 내용.
Arms, JK's face.
그 프랑스 작가분께서 언급하셨던 그 부분을
French photographer
언급해서 여쭤본 거였고요. 그거에 대해서 그냥 뭐 질문이 좀 불편할 수는 있겠지만 답변을 좀 듣고 싶은 부분 때문에 질문을 드렸습니다.
네, 그건에 대해서는 저희 회사에서 이제 저희 회사 법무팀에서 작가님이랑 이야기를 하고 있고요. 저희 의견, 저희 생각도 회사랑 동일하다고 생각을 하고 있습니다. 네, 그건에 대해서는 회사에서 지금 처리를 하고.
Great answer, Suga. Killed it. You see, everyone's like, oh, I'm gonna write here because I don't know what to say. Suga picks up and like, it's gonna be whatever our company says.
I think it was more like they're writing because they obviously have a weird subculture of people who are trying to twist everything they say.
Yeah.
So like, I bet you write it out, read it in your head, and make sure like, cool, is there a way this could be misconstrued?
Yeah.
This is such a reach to me also because it's like, okay, we had a photographer at our company who took a picture that kind of looks like a picture that another photographer took, and we liked the picture, so we used the picture. And of course, like, do you expect me to cross-reference every photograph that our internal team takes? And like, how are we supposed to have a database? You want us to do reverse Google image search and like try to just see if there's anything even tangentially similar?
So
It's
hard.
just so frustrating.
Like, come on.
때문에 뭐.
They're so polite also.
네, 감사합니다.
Good job,
Netizens later uncovered an article written by a reporter of the same name on another entertainment company's news website. April 2019. SBS Inkigayo excluded BTS's Boy With Love out of its charts for the song's first eligible week. Questions about the criteria used by the music show were raised, while SBS continued to claim the calculation period did not fit with BTS's album release time. To this, Dispatch compared BTS to another group who also released a song on the same day. That group entered the rankings and took its first win for their song that week, while...
That's just blatant corruption.
Yeah.
And the thing that sucks too is...
It's just
without
people
knowing,
are paying other people.
Without
like,
knowing any more of the story too, like, it sucks for this group.
It makes me feel like the K-dramas are so much more real now.
With all the machinations behind the scene, yeah.
Yeah. We're reacting to Vincenzo right now, and it's like a pharmaceutical company, but just replace it with media conglomerates.
Like, every lever, like if you're a corporation, every lever you can pull, if you actually think you're getting threatened in some way, you're gonna pull
corrupt.
it. It's so shitty too because now this group, they have like a scarlet letter on them, like we won this award, but it's fake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's shit for this group too.
Yeah.
Who I doubt any of those members were like call in the back room, you know, like
they just genuinely want to do a good job too, and now you're not even doing a fair comparison.
And it's like great now we're
the bad
complicit with this horrible corruption.
Yeah.
Which like we didn't.
It's not like the members.
Imagine if they're fans of BTS.
Yeah.
And they're just like.
Yeah.
It's just so shitty. That's why it's like engaging in corruption like this is bad for everybody. It doesn't. It's bad for everybody. It ruins the legitimacy of your show.
Why should I believe in the show
at all? Again? Yeah. What else are you messing with?
BTS were left out of the rankings entirely. December 2019. JTBC reported that BTS went against their own agency and planned to file a lawsuit against Big Hit Entertainment. Big Hit pulled out receipts and released a lengthy statement on behalf of Big Hit Entertainment, BTS, and the members' families. They called the media company's journalism practices into question, stating, "We have not only the video that JTBC used for the first report, but also the CCTV video that recorded the footage of the journalist breaking into our company." December 2019.
What the hell?
NBC is accused of abusing their power
These
to
media companies?
This is insane.
F them, man.
This is
They are
insane.
legitimately so corrupt.
I can't believe the links that they're. I never imagined that when we started this video, it was going to be this bad.
Yeah.
Like reporters breaking into Big Hit to fabricate a story. Is that not absolutely insane?
That's wild.
That's like espionage.
This is literally like out of a K-drama.
This would prevent other groups under Big Hit Entertainment from appearing at their year-end show, after BTS chose to appear on the US's NBC New Year's Rockin' Eve countdown in New York City instead of NBC's year-end program. According to OSEN, multiple industry sources shared, ever since October, when BTS's side told NBC that BTS would not be appearing on NBC's year-end music festival, it has been difficult for singers associated with Big Hit Entertainment to appear on NBC. It is already an openly known fact in the industry. January 2020. For 29 years, the Seoul Music Awards only had one grand prize, also known as a Daesang. But in 2020, they created a second Daesang for digital music. BTS won the Daesang for physical music only, even though their stats proved that they should have also gotten the Daesang for digital music as well.
That's so obnoxious.
Yeah.
They're literally just trying to invent a new category.
So they don't have to give all the awards to BTS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
BTS did not appear in person to accept the award and has only sent in video acceptance speeches since.
I will say, I like when they do petty.
Yeah.
But I will say, I feel like BTS has been so not petty considering.
I know.
And also, it's wild to me because, at least in the US, one of the best ways to garner attention is to have, direct responses and engagement with controversies.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of, especially, influencers in the US who get famous because they get into controversies and they make most of their content about their controversies that they're embroiled in, directly.
Yeah.
A lot of people, their biggest videos are them either responding to accusations or apologizing.
Or
stuff
think
that.
about all the the sidemen videos that they would do back and forth the songs.
Oh, the diss tracks.
Diss tracks. Yeah, the diss track songs. That's a way to gain attention by responding to conflict, right?
So I think it's really telling that BTS goes out of their way not to talk about this.
Yeah.
Which is why, even us, we've watched so much BTS related
famous
content.
Despite this.
And I think it's really cool that they are still they didn't even have to engage with this.
Yeah.
It's going on. It's present, but they didn't have to directly engage with it to still survive and thrive and continue to blow up and continue to grow.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool because by engaging with it, they would have fed the other side.
Yeah.
And they didn't. I think it's really cool. And I feel like
they've risen above it.
And they suck the oxygen out of those people who are accusing them.
Yeah.
Because they don't need that controversy. Not that there's anything wrong with engaging in the controversy to help sell your brand, but I think it's really cool and really powerful that BTS didn't need to do that and they could just off entirely their own merits continue to grow.
I agree.
And has only sent in video acceptance speeches
Look what we've
since
done.
Yeah.
July 2020.
But I was saying all that to say it makes me happy when they can get something like that in where they're like,
feels
yeah,
good.
We're just not going to attend your event
well,
now.
It's more like you've disrespected us. Why should we do you the honor of attending?
Yeah, but I'm just saying because they've been so high road, it makes me really happy when they can high road and be a little petty at the same time.
Naver, the Google of South Korea reportedly invested over $80 million into another entertainment company after losing out on profits from BTS, who chose to hold an online concert through Weverse, a mobile app and web platform developed by Big Hit Entertainment.
Oh, we didn't know that.
BTS earned at least $21 million in ticket revenue, according to an analyst at securities firm. He stated, Naver lost BTS, the most popular IP of K-pop, and must have felt the need to invest in entertainment to form a stable relationship. Since 2017, fans have noticed that South Korean platforms such as Naver and media journalists were ignoring and downplaying BTS's achievements. Popular websites hardly posted anything about them, nor did they feature BTS on their front pages.
That's insane.
Music critic Kim Young-dae and popular political commentator Kim Oh-jun recently discussed this issue.
그 뉴스의 크기에 비해서 국내 기사는 상대적으로 적다는 인상을 내가 항상 받았거든. BTS는 그 버금갈 정도의 현상을 지속적으로 만들었는데 거기에 비하자면 아주 수량이 좀 적다. 호들갑 떨기 그렇게 좋아하는 이 미디어들이 왜 이럴까? 궁금증이 평소에 있었거든. 연결되는 이야기예요. 기사들이 일단
BTS의 성공은 이제 어느 정도 보도가 돼요. 그러면 우리가 흔히 알고 있는 소위 대형 기획사의 아이돌이 그것보다 사실은 못 미치는 어떤 활약을 보였을 때 미디어에 보도되는 양이나 그 커버되는 범위를 보시면 확연히 차이가 납니다.
I think that's one of the craziest things that the internet has allowed to be able to be seen. Because internet is such a decentralized technology that then like people can access records and people can see numbers and you can kind of start to see differences.
But the story that the media conglomerates are telling
and just discrepancies, right? Because like if you didn't have the internet and you didn't know, and like let's say pull up Blood, Sweat and Tears and be like, damn, this shit has a lot of views.
Yeah.
Right? You wouldn't know. You have no way to like cross check and cross reference that the media's picture that they're giving you is just like not accurate to real life.
Anybody trust the media anymore these days?
I
They're
feel like
so
no,
corrupt.
and
I feel like in every area, even freaking music. You can't even just report honestly.
Which you would think this would be a relatively like straightforward industry. It's not like it's pharmaceuticals or something where there's people's health that's involved or something like that. It's music. It's like, hey, we're going to listen to sounds that make our brains happy. You know what I mean? And even this is so corrupt, and it's insane to me also that like Naver got involved to this degree. Can you imagine? Like,
you know what I appreciate though is that because BTS is global. What is the media conglomerates going to do that are in South Korea? Are they going to call up all the news streams in America and try to shut them down? Are they going to do it in Argentina and Brazil and France and England, wherever they are? Like,
I'm sure if they could, they would. That's the thing.
Sure if they could,
they would. But their influence doesn't extend.
They're not that big. BTS is bigger than you media companies.
Yeah, and I bet they know that. That's probably also one of the reasons that they get so pissed off. And they're probably like, no, we need to keep trying to chop them down, because if they get outside of our media bubble, then we can't shape the narrative anymore.
Yeah.
And I think it's also interesting because the media is in a language that spoke like Korean, right? So they can try to keep on doing this, even though, like, if there's media consumers who only consume media in Korean, let's say, then they can keep trying to do this even when BTS has broken out in this weird way. So then you can get like English news coverage of BTS that's really positive, but Korean news coverage that's like negative. Isn't that weird?
That is so weird.
And I think, man, I hate this.
I hate the corruption.
I'm glad though. I'm glad because in a way I feel like it was like they made BTS and ARMY get so much stronger by lying.
Yeah.
Like all the corruption, all of that energy
it just exposed
against them.
Yeah.
Got like channeled into BTS, which is in a way kind of like you created in their mind the monster that's bigger than you now, because you channeled so much energy into lying and slandering this group, but they survived it. And because they survived it, it's like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. ARMY's so much stronger. BTS as a group is so much stronger.
재밌는 부분이고, 이번 그래미 같은 경우 어떻게 들어가냐면 주요 부문에서 등극에 실패했다라고
Yeah,
합니다.
That's wild.
여러 가지 이유 중에 이거 하나가 중요하다고 생각해요. 뭐냐면
They failed. They're the only South Korean group to ever get nominated for a Grammy, you know, but let's frame it, they didn't get a good Grammy.
Yeah. Arbitrarily decide that
What's
these
good
are
and
the
what's
ones
bad.
that are the good Grammys. Yeah.
BTS라는 이 현상, BTS의 미국에서의 성공, BTS의 세계적인 열풍 자체가 제도권의 시스템을 거치지 않았다는 거예요.
It shows they're not
그래서
necessary.
이 제도권을 점하고 있는 그 언론일 수도 있고 뭐 프로모터일 수도 있고 음반 회사일 수도 있죠. 이 사람들이 보기에 썩 납득이 가지 않고 유쾌하지도 않아요.
자기 힘이 입증이 안 되는 거지. 그렇게 되면.
그렇습니다.
점하고 있는 위치에서 자기 영향력이라는 게 있는데 이걸 다 거치지 않고 성공해 버렸으니까 자기 존재 이유가
Yeah.
없어지는 거 아니에요.
That's exactly what you said. Why
맥락에서는.
should they exist? They don't need
December
them.
2020. For the last few years, BTS has been the face of political discourse.
Man,
on
I've been
the-
so curious about this because
Yeah.
I followed MMA super closely, and there are a couple of really good Korean MMA fighters, and so there was discourse like, would they get an exemption from military service, and they didn't.
Yeah.
But there's been other athletes that have,
Yeah.
and so I was always really curious with BTS how this dialogue and just like
Work.
how the idea of exemption in military service was viewed in South Korea,
Yeah.
just in general, like by the public, by the government, because I don't know, like, without knowing anything, just from an outside perspective, it would appear to me that my first thought would be it would be incredibly powerful to keep having BTS in action because
Yeah.
they've, like, for us, the reason that we've learned so much more about South Korea
And South Korean tourism has increased.
and even South Korean media, like, we've become consumers of K-dramas because we started listening to, I mean, if we're being really reductionist, right, you guys suggested we react to Run BTS.
Yeah.
And we were like, wow, this is amazing. And then gradually we just kept doing
Learning
more
and more
BTS
about South
content.
Korean culture.
And then learning more about South Korean culture, doing South Korean media. And now, like, on both of our bucket lists is going to Seoul, right?
Yeah.
So, like, we're going to be... We are dollars that are going into South Korea now because of BTS. Like you and I, right? Like if we go there and there's tourism industry, by even watching K-dramas on Netflix, that means that Netflix has to pay the South Korean media companies more money because they're getting more eyeballs, right?
Yeah.
So to get the streaming rights to their shows, like...
It's literally more beneficial for the entire country
Yeah.
to let South Korea be exempt.
And I don't want to go too far because I'm just... There could be other qualifications and cultural...
Connotations. I recognize
as
that there's
well
another
that, like,
side.
we're just not understanding, but I'm just looking at it from, like, a pragmatic dollars and cents
Yeah,
perspective.
because you said that if you let them get exempted, then it's like it's really hard to be like, okay, well, who else gets exempted, right? Like
But I
once
think-
you
but
have an exemption.
I think that I don't know because but the thing is though, I know that there are athletes that have gotten exempted.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying because of the MMA. Because people would be like, oh well, so and so got an exemption, so maybe
this person.
yeah, maybe he will too. So that's what's interesting to me is like if there is a precedence for exemptions.
Why not a lot? Then?
Yeah, because there's so much economic benefit for South Korea in BTS being active.
But it
You see
makes
what I'm saying?
I agree with you, but it makes a lot of sense too with like all the conglomerate
Yeah.
forces acting against them, the media news coverage, and then like they know how popular it is overseas, but because it doesn't feel like that in South Korea because they keep downplaying everything, they have to do what the people who are voting for them and who are put them in power in South Korea care about, not necessarily what like the US thinks, right? Like they have to deal with all the media corruption.
Oh
and
yeah, you're
everything
saying
that.
like the what would you call that? The class of people, like the lobbyist class.
Yeah, whatever that is in South
You-
Korea.
So like in US sometimes there will be laws that are passed and it kind of feels like no one wants the law to be passed, but it's beneficial to like
a specific company,
a specific company,
industry,
yeah, or
or
a specific
whatever.
who lobbied for that specific rule to get passed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get what
So
you're saying.
here's an example of one that I think is really interesting. So I used to work in the transportation industry where you're shipping over the road in full truckloads, and the maximum you can ship in the United States is 80,000 pounds. Now, if you go to Canada, it's way higher. It's way up there at like 100,000 something for over the road, and there's studies that show that it doesn't actually damage the roads that much more, yada, yada, yada. But you know why we can't increase the limit on how much you can ship in a truck? because of the railroad lobbying industry.
Oh.
And so the railroad has a huge lobbying industry, and they keep it capped at 80,000, which forces companies in the United States to send their product over the railroad because it's cheaper and you can send more weight. But you know what? It actually means that there's way more trucks on the road, because if you have a really heavy product, you can only fill it up halfway. Well, then I have to send a second truck along with it. So that's really interesting to me, because it's like these two lobbies are fighting against each other. The trucking one, which is really small, and the railroad one, which is huge. It's just a small example of that kind of weird corruption. And
where it might be better for like everybody. We don't know, right?
Would it not be better to have less trucks on the road, less emissions and all that? But no, because the railroad wants to exist. They're saying you have to use us.
What would do more damage to the road? One truck that has like 120,000, or two trucks that have 80,000 and 40,000.
Yeah.
But it's two that are going
to the environment or whatever.
I get
right?
what you're saying. Yeah. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, I just think that's a good example that I'm familiar with of like how the government can be shifted based on who's the bigger lobby.
You know, I'm also thinking about it, and I could think like for BTS's military service as well, that could be a very like powerful image that the federal government or the South Korean government might want, because it's like, I mean, it's a ton it's BTS served.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's a very, like when Elvis was in the military.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Like Elvis served, so I am too.
Yeah.
The revisions of South Korea's mandatory military service, even though BTS and their company have not spoken about wanting postponement or exemptions,
really?
And have insisted that they will serve when
wow. So it wasn't even a narrative. Like that's so fascinating to me.
They are so respectable. They're like, yeah, we know we're gonna do it. They didn't even apply for it.
In August 2018, all major South Korean entertainment companies,
high-ranking officials of major companies, held a meeting about it. So why do the major companies get to decide?
Held a meeting to discuss petitioning the government to revise the law to allow K-pop performers to be exempt from service.
Oh, okay.
In addition to the top artists, musicians, and athletes that already qualify.
They want
Big Hit Entertainment was not among the agencies, but BTS was used as the leading example for this revision. On December 22, 2020, the Ministry of National Defense announced that a revision has been made, effective June 23, 2021, where popular culture artists can postpone their enlistment until age 30. With the requirements that the individuals must have been recommended as recipients of the Order of Cultural Merit, one of the highest national honors given to artists in South Korea.
That's very specific.
Yeah, it's very specific.
So specific.
So specific.
Is BTS the only one that's gotten this award that's
I'd be
for
really
a K-pop
curious.
group?
Yeah, I don't know.
In April 2021, 26 agencies led by the Korean Music Content Association.
I can see that.
Of course they're pissed.
Yeah, because you're like, well, our group.
They were the ones lobbying it, and they specifically wanted it for their guys.
And they got it for
who they hate.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest, they definitely hate BTS.
Yeah.
After everything, they're like, that's why I'm saying it feels like antis, and even antis, like corporate antis, are comically cartoon villains, because they're like, he, we're gonna get them now. We're gonna get exemption for our guys, then they lobby, and then the government's like, yeah, that's a great idea. You know who we'd really like to give an extension to? BTS.
It does feel like they created a loophole just for BTS.
But it sounds like they were like, it's like if the railroad lobby asked for a law, and then the government, the transportation agencies were like, you're totally right. We're gonna give that to the trucks. In your example, right?
A written objection against the revision, stating that the new law is both unrealistic and unfair. March 2021, BTS was nominated for the Best Duo Group Performance at the Grammys, which was announced during the online pre-show instead of the primetime ceremony, as it usually was in previous years. Unfortunately, they didn't take home the award, but what made fans even more upset was that the Grammys used BTS as ratings bait, teasing that BTS's performance would be quote-unquote up next, but were actually placed as the second to last performance during the 3.5-hour broadcast, and only given the time to perform an abridged performance of their song. a former managing editor.
That's such a that's
That's
like,
shady.
Well, I wouldn't even say that's shady. That's just like peak American media company management, in my opinion, where they're like, no, we have to try to, we can't be respectful. We can't be respectful of the artist or the fans. We have to like pseudo lie to everybody to try to just get as much engagement
Get
as
as
possible.
many views as possible.
That's like what I think of as the US version of corruption.
Yeah.
Is like
That's
so.
like, to me, I guess I'm like, they would do this to anybody.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
that's-
targeted towards BTS. They would
It's
do it to
because
literally
BTS
anybody.
is so popular.
Yeah.
They're literally just like, okay, sick. We can run like clickbait, essentially. We're going to clickbait BTS. And then bait and switch them to try to get better views.
Like if it's Taylor Swift, they
They
would
do
have done the same thing.
Yeah, that's the thing though. It's like, it's crazy. As soon as we get an American story, I'm like, yeah, it feels right. You know what I mean?
Because that's just how we're used to
It's
that.
shitty. And that's probably, it's so shitty, but I'm like, yeah, that's the American style.
That's how we do
yeah.
it.
Editor for the Grammy Awards website spoke out the next day about the Recording Academy and how it pushed back on featuring BTS. But BTS got the last laugh. A live stream of the band celebrating after the event has so far garnered more than 13 million views.
That's awesome.
Compared to the 8.8 million viewers who tuned into the Grammy. March 2021.
The thing is though, the Grammys.
I don't watch the Grammys. I don't watch the Academy
Well, no,
Awards.
what I was saying though is the Grammys would still say that they won because they still got the BTS boost on their numbers. So then they can use BTS boost to sell advertisers next year.
Yeah.
And so it's shit, but it's like
They won.
that's what pisses me off. From their perspective, the Grammys won. I've also been very curious if American media labels.
Yeah.
How much they would, because they pull the strings just like they do in South Korea, even though I feel like it's maybe not quite as aggressive.
Yeah, or
But-
we just don't know about it because we're not tied into it.
But they definitely are like putting their fingers on the scales quite a lot.
Yeah.
So I was surprised not to hear them kind of like hampering BTS a little bit more.
Yeah.
Million viewers who tuned into the Grammys. March 2021. Topps released the Garbage Pail Kids Shammy Awards illustration and cards. Unlike the other artists who were featured, BTS was depicted as being brutalized and beaten up by a Grammy trophy inside a whack-a-mole.
That's
being
very
brutalized.
weird.
Yeah, that's very
The
weird.
other Garbage Pail Kids Shammy Awards illustration
Well, the one's got a monster around his neck, right? Wild Styles. but-
and cards. Unlike the other artists who were featured,
What the
BTS
hell?
was depicted as being brutalized and beaten
frickin'
up
effed
by
up.
a Grammy trophy inside a whack-a-mole. This isn't the first time BTS has been shunned, put down, or bullied. In February 2021, a German radio station.
I have a question though. Was that image trying to like show that
I don't get that project.
I don't get that project either. That's weird.
So I don't get any of it though. Like I don't get what the jokes.
But
that
you
they
know
were
what? It
making.
kind of to me it looks like symbolized like, hey, BTS is like deserves this Grammy, and they're just getting pounded. And
I don't know.
or you could interpret it totally differently.
It's just that
It's a
whole
weird
project was
image.
very weird to me.
Also,
the
yeah.
other images were also bizarre.
They
to
were
me.
all weird.
Yeah.
What a weird thing to do.
And host made racist remarks about BTS, comparing them to COVID-19, and voiced his hopes that there will be a vaccine against BTS soon.
What the hell?
He openly cursed at them for covering a Coldplay song and said that BTS deserves a 20-year vacation in North Korea.
What the-
Halsey, Max, Lau.
That's so
What
weird.
the
Why?
Freaking hell!
Why? What would possess you to talk like that?
Why would you ever say that?
For Coldplay. Who likes them?
Who likes them?
Coldplay loves them. That's
I
so
don't
weird.
understand.
Steve Aoki and more artists slammed the radio station's racism and xenophobia. The host
I'm glad that there's artists
who support
them. That makes me really.
Me too.
Regardless of, we don't really see the machinations. Honestly, I feel like the American style too would be like for the major label to just be like, hey, cool, we'll just sign for your American distribution. That's so the American style would be like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we don't care about we don't care if our homegrown artists are more successful than you. We just want a piece of the pie. If you give us a piece of the pie, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Station maintains that it was just a joke and that folks are too sensitive. During Zach Sang's show, a member named Liam from a boy band called Forever in Your Mind made these comments.
Yeah, I agree that they're a boy band, but at the same time, it's like I feel like it's like a different, like they belong in a different genre on their own, because I feel like there still needs to be like a European or an American boy band to be at the top, and I think BTS can just live in their own. They're BTS. They don't, you know what I mean?
Even his family was like, bro, what the fuck did you just say? What does that even mean?
What does that mean?
What is that? Well, I know what it means.
Yeah.
That's whack.
They don't
Their
think
fan
that they're
base
gonna.
is so crazy. It's
Dude, and it's global.
Yeah, I'm a fan. They're really good.
I like them. They're good dancers. I can't get behind it. I don't understand what they're saying.
I got it.
And
I got
just.
I don't even know what to call them, boys or girls, because I don't know what they are.
Pause. We'll do this in a second. But I want to talk about the last one. How did that get out? Like it's crazy. He said it. Everybody that was in that podcast,
they're like,
they all just went. That was.
And they posted it anyway.
And I can't like.
That was.
How did that get out?
I don't know.
That's wild to me that he just said that. He just said a North American and European boy band needs to be at the top. Why?
What they're saying.
I got it. I got it.
I don't even know what to call them, boys or girls, because I don't know what they are. Look at these people. Look
She's
at this one.
Editor of
I don't know
Star
which one he is.
Magazine.
Look at those highlights. Those chunky Tony and Guy mall salon highlights. And
is she talking about his hair?
Yes, yeah. Wesley doesn't even know what that means.
I was trying. I thought that she was talking about.
She's saying
makeup.
that he has bad highlights on in his hair. That's what she's trying to comment.
the contact lenses. You are an Asian man. You don't need to look like a girl named Ashley.
When I first heard something Korean had exploded in America,
I didn't realize that there was so much negative
Vitriol?
media, from Western media. I didn't realize there was so much backlash.
Yeah,
because
But
we
these are-
weren't.
To be fair, we don't know who any of those people were.
Yeah.
I don't know
Oh
who
no,
she
I'm
is.
just
I
saying
don't
though.
know.
I didn't even realize there was this level of discourse because
Yeah.
I've only ever heard positive things.
Yeah.
Probably because we weren't following it. We weren't following the first exposure of BTS to the
US.
Western markets.
Yeah.
But I don't even understand. That was so weird to me. Like
I got worried.
I don't know.
When I first heard something Korean had exploded in America, I got worried.
I don't know. I think they look very nice. Oh, that is not what you were saying during the break.
How did this become a thing in Western culture where all these grown men and little girls are off to little K-pop boys?
喐校，要經係校，要經係幾有嘢學啊，要經係幾有嘢，要經係後面喎。有咩管呢？
A senior editor from The Economist said, "Please no." After BTS was
Senior editor from who?
The Economist.
Senior editor from The Economist said, "Please no." After BTS was announced as speakers at the 75th UN General Assembly. She quickly tried to backtrack, claiming it was a joke. This led to Stephen Pollard, a British journalist, to tweet this, and Anne Hegarty, a television personality, responding with, "All this about a little Korean boy band that's fundamentally not important?" So when
that's another thing where people who they get pissed off because people again care.
Yeah.
And that's something that you're just going to be very jealous of.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I should be. It's what I'm doing.
Well, I'm doing my politics. My economist job
Yeah.
is important. This is just a little boy band.
Yeah.
It's not important. Like, that's what they're
It's
like,
a
I'm
minute.
doing real important things in
Yeah.
the world. And they're getting to go speak at the United Nations. They should have me.
It's just
I'm
jealousy.
more important. That's
yeah,
what they're doing.
It's 100% jealousy.
BTS was named Entertainer of the Year by Time magazine soon after. RM said, "We're not sure if we've actually earned respect, but one thing is for sure is that people feel like, okay, this is not just some kind of syndrome or phenomenon. These little boys from Korea are doing this."
I'm glad.
Good job, RM.
Good job, RM. Man, some of what BTS has talked about before, I feel like I always interpreted it as them being very humble when they would talk about like not knowing if they're respected and whatnot.
Yeah, but
I
truly, when you're bombarded with all the antis
especially
all
with,
the time.
because it's so institutional.
Yeah.
Like there are the antis that are just like on Twitter,
Yeah.
but there's so much institutional hate as well. I get why you'd be like, we don't even really feel. Sometimes it doesn't even feel like we are successful in a weird way because we're not like welcome. You would think, right, on paper, if you write it out, that everyone would love them and be kind of like throwing flowers at their feet, you know?
Yeah.
For elevating an industry. But that's just not how it works, because it's like people would rather be top dog in a much smaller pool than be like, oh, okay, cool, now we're dog number 3 and dog number 1 is like way up here, and we have more, but relatively we're at a lower position.
BTS have always been outspoken about the injustice of racial discrimination. In the summer of 2020, they used their platform and proudly announced their support for Black Lives Matter and donated $1 million to the organization. With the recent rise and visibility of atrocities against Asians, BTS released a statement on their Twitter standing in solidarity once again. These are just a few of the countless examples of mistreatment, racism, and xenophobia that BTS has been encountering.
Good. I thought there was going to be a flip and they were going to get like criticism. I'm glad that at least there wasn't there.
Yeah.
I do think in US at least.
I'm sure there was, that she just didn't show.
I don't know if it's been changing a little bit recently, but I always have felt like Asian people get made fun of a lot in media and in movies and stuff like that. In ways that it's not acceptable for other cultures to be made fun of.
Yeah.
Like they don't get made fun of and they happen to be Asian. It's like they get made fun of for being Asian. You see what I'm saying? Whereas that's not something that's accepted in general.
Yeah.
For other groups.
People. Yeah.
Around the world throughout their storied career. It will more than likely be a continued uphill battle. As artists of color who are constantly breaking records and barriers, amassing fans and growing in popularity around the globe, hostility and jealousy will come easily from those not afforded the luxury of such a strong and dedicated fan base.
That's a good way to say that.
As fans who are cognizant of their journey and understand that their popularity comes from their sincerity and talent, ARMYs have a tendency to be protective, and sometimes overly so. If only because of the awareness of what BTS and ARMY are up against when fighting for fair representation.
That was really well made.
Yeah, I've seen her stuff before. She does
X-Celeste
she does a
awesome.
great job.
Shout out X-Celeste.
Woo, good job.
Let's leave this page up.
Yeah, seriously,
she's amazing.
How she does all the research, how she gets all of like the documentaries and pieces it together. She knows her stuff, man. Oh, it hurts. It hurts a lot.
I feel hot because I'm pissed.
This made me angry.
That made me really pissed off. It definitely gives me more of an appreciation for when BTS will allude to difficult times.
Yeah. And in their lyrics and everything.
Yeah.
I think that gives us another level of understanding of what they've been through.
And appreciation. And I think it kind of makes sense why sometimes I've been wondering, like, why are they so reticent to go on variety shows? Why are they so... Why was it such a big deal for J-Hope to gather together other people from within the industry for the release of Jack in the Box?
Yeah. Yeah, to have to support his behind his back because there's so many people out there who are...
It makes sense why they would be very much like, okay, we're gonna be doing our thing.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do it great, and we're not gonna be really engaging with the broader media industry, right? So I understand now why there's these certain aspects and decisions that have been made. But I feel really horrible that they had to go through this.
And they've honestly, like, I think this video scratched the surface. There's so much more that, like, you guys have kind of keyed in on. Just, like, other artists kind of belittling them or belittling the fans, right? Or people... And that this hasn't even gone into, like, what have the fans gone through? Like, artists gone through themselves supporting back in the day. Like, they've been belittled. They've been...
I thought this was a pretty... It was like we only did the biggest stuff.
Yeah.
And kind of threw out all of the little things.
Like, and think about, like, how many nasty tweets there are.
Yeah.
Like, every time
just random nasty tweets.
Just random...
We only went into the particularly heinous.
She didn't even talk about, like, the ocean waves of darkness that they would face when other fans of other groups would show up, buy out the tickets, and just, like, keep the lights off. She didn't even talk about that, right?
I just can't believe that there's that much energy and resources put into
hating someone. Isn't that negative? Doesn't that, like, drain you? Doesn't that make you, like, so...
You just would feel bad.
I'd feel so sad for somebody that thrives on hate, and that's, like...
they're putting their energy into
all
that.
consuming. Like, make your life better. Go plant some flowers. Go listen to some BTS music.
Or listen to, if you don't like BTS,
go listen to your favorite group and just enjoy that and
if you
thrive on that. If you don't like them,
if you don't like something, you can just
focus
opt
on
out
something
on
other
it
positivity.
entirely.
Yeah. You know, not everything has to be a war.
And like, it doesn't have. If you don't like something,
that doesn't mean someone else can't like it.
And it's a ton of other people like it.
Pineapple on pizza. I'm not out here sending nasty tweets about it.
Yeah, it's like
I don't know.
People get so angry if there's people who are very, very passionate and fervent about something, and they're not. But I don't understand why. We even kind of, in casually talking to people about BTS, sometimes we get kind of that reaction where people are like, "Well, I'm not into it, so clearly this must be something that's not that good or not that." Powerful or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, but why? Why do you assume that just because you're not into it, it therefore must be either bad or unworthy or why can't it just be something that you either haven't discovered yet or you tried and just wasn't for you and you're just like, well, I'm glad that there's so many people who love this and are happy and there's this whole community going over here. Why, if you're not a part of the community, does it have to be a bad thing? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I like NASCAR, right? Like, not for me. I'm glad there's people who get together and enjoy an activity that they love.
Good for you.
It's not for me.
Yeah, I don't.
But them enjoying it is not a negative on my life. If anything, I'm just happy that there's people who are having fun over it.
You know what? They're over at NASCAR. That means that me hiking in the forest, there's less people in the forest.
Yeah, it's just like, I think it's beautiful that there's so many disparate interests and not all of them are things that I'm interested in. Not all of them are things that I would even like, but that doesn't mean that I think that those things shouldn't exist.
People love to hate, and I think it's a way for them to just ignore the bad things going on in their life.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they're like, I think it's often people are just channeling negative emotions, and instead of wanting to, it's like internal negative emotions externalized just onto a target.
I really respect that she, in this video, Celeste got rid of all the other names, so that they can't be attacked, right? Because to be fair to a lot of these other groups, right, the members in those groups who would be the ones receiving the attacks, they don't necessarily, they're not the media conglomerates pulling the strings.
Yeah.
They're not their fans. You're not responsible for every single thing that every one of your fans says or does. It's impossible to do, right? And so I do respect that she removed the names, because I even felt myself
want to get pissed at
want to get mad at them. And I'm like, well, it's not their fault, right?
Like the group that got the award when BTS was unjustly excluded.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know. Like, yeah, sure.
know.
If
Maybe
they ask for it, get them. But
yeah.
I mean, I imagine you're like, what?
Yeah.
And especially for some of the newer groups, I bet that a lot of the members would be fans of BTS.
Yeah. It just makes me so sad for the boys, because I'm like, they've had to go through so much, and just like one negative comment can ruin a day, right? If you read it, and how much negativity that are they just bombarded with? Like, they turn on the news in South Korea and they just get, oh, they didn't get the good Grammy. They only got the bad Grammy.
And even if they turn it off, I feel like people in their own lives would be like, I'm so sorry for what happened on the news today.
Yeah, you're like...
And you're like, well, I was trying not to
engage
be
with
aware of
that.
that. But, you know what I mean? Because I think it would be really difficult to... It would be a very weird phenomenon to be so popular, but so popular worldwide, but to be so like... Because you grew up watching news shows, you grew up watching media, and like your home, it's almost like
your home's
invaded. Your home is against you.
But think about this.
Everybody else loves you. You know what I mean?
They can't even bury their head in the sand, because then Big Hit's gonna come to them and be like, hey, just so you know, people are saying this. We're going to have this press conference about something totally unrelated, but you have to be prepared in case they ask you about it, so you're not blindsided. Yeah. Like, think about that.
And it's
how
crazy.
you literally cannot escape it, because you have to be prepared to give an answer anytime you're randomly attacked.
And it would just be like, oh, wow. It would be probably hard to even see how much love you have in Korea.
Yeah.
Because the institutions and the media are against you.
Yeah.
So how would you... I mean, you'd get that at concerts. You'd get that... But you know what I mean? It just sucks.
It makes me angry.
It makes me understand so much more why BTS has such a deep appreciation for ARMY and a love for ARMY.
Yeah.
It makes so much more sense to me now.
I can't believe that their mental health is as good as it is, considering everything they've been through. I think a normal human being would be torn to shreds.
Just quit. I think they just would have quit a long time ago.
Yeah,
for sure.
But the 7 of them, they have each other, and that's what's always helped them. If it was just one person, they would have been done. Nobody could take that.
Yeah. Well, we love you guys. We'll be back to watching happy BTS content next week, but I do think this was important for us to
It's
get.
important. It's
I,
so important.
I already feel like we have just a deeper understanding, and there's so much more that we don't even get, especially because we are not embroiled in Korean culture. We don't we don't understand so many intricacies, but we love you guys.
Thanks for being here with
Thanks
us.
for being here with you.
Thanks for getting outraged with us.
I'm still pissed. Like my head, I feel kind of like, I don't know, when I get mad, my head feels like it's higher than my. You just don't I feel like that. And I hope we did a good reaction because I felt like for so much of the video we were just pissed. Like I was just angry. I forgot to talk because I was just like mad. But
no, you definitely didn't
talked, but I just got pissed.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
We love you guys. Bye.